I think frugality drives innovation, just like other constraints do. One of the only ways to get out of a tight box is to invent your way out. Jeff Bezos. We all know how it is to be broke. From overdrafts to bounced checks, the situation is never fun to find yourself in. Then when you finally get some momentum going again and reach the point where your bank account got dough, all of a sudden, the money's gone again. Number 10. Fix and reuse whenever possible. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of buying new things, and it can be hard to break out of it. When we buy something new, we're excited by how shiny and new it is. But after a while, that excitement wears off, and then we start thinking about what else we could do with our money if it weren't going towards buying this thing that's just collecting dust in the closet. But there's a better way: repairing and reusing your things. When you repair things or turn them into something else, you're not only saving money, you're also preventing waste from ending up in landfills. Repairing things can be as simple as fixing a rip or sewing on a button. It can also involve more complicated projects like turning old clothing into new ones or turning your old books into art projects. When you repair and reuse things instead of throwing them away after one use, you're not only saving yourself money on replacing those items, you're also reducing the amount of waste in the world. Number 9. Adopt a minimalistic lifestyle. If you're struggling financially, it's easy to feel like there's no way out. The bills keep piling up, and there never seems to be enough money left over after paying them. It's hard not to get discouraged and feel like you'll never get out of this cycle of debt and financial stress. But what if I told you that adopting a minimalist lifestyle could help you break free? What if I told you that by simplifying your life, cutting back on unnecessary purchases, and reducing your overall spending patterns, you could find yourself with more money than ever before? And what if I also told you that it was easier than ever before? With all the amazing tools available on smartphones today, from apps like Mint and You Need a Budget, or YNAB, to mobile banking services, it's never been easier to track your expenses and stay on top of your budgeting needs without having to spend hours at the bank doing so. In fact, a recent study found that people who use these kinds of tools tend to have more money saved up than those who don't. Number 8. Learn some skills. If you have a job and you're constantly worried about how long it will last, then you're probably not alone. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average length of unemployment in the United States is around 3 months. That's 3 months every time you lose your job and have to look for another one. But what if there were ways to avoid this? What if there were things you could do right now to make sure that your next job isn't just another temporary gig? It turns out there are. In fact, learning some skills is one of those things. And here's why. When we learn new things, our brains start to change in positive ways. That's because learning new skills increases our cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt and change as circumstances require. It also helps us build resilience by teaching us how to handle failure and disappointment. Both of these qualities can make us less likely to become overwhelmed by stressors like unemployment, which means more confidence when it comes time for job interviews. Number 7. Avoid overbuying clothes and shoes. Being broke sucks. It's not just a matter of having to make do with less or having to cut back on your spending. It's a state of mind, and it can really mess up your life. The good news is that you have control over how much money you spend, and one way to keep your spending under control is by avoiding overbuying clothes and shoes. Why? Because it's easy to get caught up in the moment when you're shopping for something new, especially if you're buying something like clothing or shoes that are particularly fashionable or trendy at the time. But if you're not careful, these purchases can add up quickly, leaving you with less money than planned and no space in your closet. So how do we avoid overbuying clothes and shoes? The most important thing is to just take a step back before buying anything new. Ask yourself, do I really need this item? Is there anything similar in my closet already? If so, would using that item instead be just as good? If not, then ask yourself, am I going to wear this more than once? If so, then go ahead and buy it. But if not, think about whether there's something else out there that will serve the same purpose better. Number 6. Avoid ordering takeout. If you're trying to break the habit of ordering takeout, there are a few things you should know. First, it's not going to be easy. There will be times when you're tired and just want to sit on the couch, or you'll be feeling down and want comfort food. But if you can make it through those first few weeks, it will get easier. You'll have more energy and feel better about yourself. The next thing to do is figure out which foods are most likely to trigger your desire for takeout. If pizza is always your go-to when you're feeling down or stressed out, try cooking a batch of homemade pizza dough ahead of time and freezing it in individual portions. Then, all you'll have to do is pop one in the oven when you need something fast and easy. Finally, don't forget about planning ahead. If you're planning an event or party at home with friends or family, make sure that some of the dishes are ones that don't require much preparation time, like pizza. That way, everyone can enjoy their meal without worrying about how long it's taking them. Number 5. Use fewer single-use products. In a world where everyone is busy, it can be challenging to find time to make the change you want to see in your life. But if you're looking for ways to save money and live more sustainably, there's one habit that will help you do both, and that is avoiding single-use products. While they may seem convenient at first glance, these items come with a hefty price tag and an even heavier environmental impact. Plastic straws alone account for roughly 12 million tons of plastic waste annually. That's enough plastic waste to fill over 100 Empire State Buildings each year. And while many cities have banned single-use plastic straws within their limits, those bans are only a small step towards solving the problem of single-use plastic waste on a larger scale. If you want to stop contributing to this problem and save money at the same time, not to mention reduce your carbon footprint, consider switching to reusable alternatives whenever possible. For instance, if someone offers you a plastic bag at the grocery store, instead let them know you'd rather bring your own reusable bag. Number 4. Sale items aren't always a good buy. Sometimes you just have to stop yourself from buying something that's on sale. In fact, not buying something just because it's on sale is a habit that will help you avoid being broke. And it's actually one of the most important habits you can cultivate if you want to save money and get out of debt. If you buy things just because they're on sale, then you're more likely to spend more than you need to. You might think, for example, oh my gosh, these jeans are only $5. I should definitely buy them. And then maybe later that day or the next week, when you're out shopping again, you see another pair of jeans that are also only $5. You'll buy those too. And then maybe another time, when the third pair of jeans comes up at half price, well, you get the idea. This is how people end up spending way too much money on clothes and other things without really thinking about it in terms of what their budget allows for or whether they actually need anything else right now. Number 3. Live in a smaller house. With the average mortgage debt at $21,000, Americans are spending more than ever on their homes. In fact, the median size of an American home has increased by about 50% since 1975. However, this can be changed by living in a smaller house. Living in a smaller house means you have less of an investment to maintain and less of a space to clean and keep. You also spend less time commuting and going from one place to another because it's all closer together. This allows you to spend more time doing other things like working or playing with your kids. It's easy to think that living in a bigger house is better, but when it comes down to it, living in a smaller one will save you money and give you more freedom to do what matters most: being happy. Number 2. Hang out with like-minded friends. Let's face it, we all have those friends who are just different. The ones who have different interests, live in a different area, or even just don't seem to care about money the way that you do. And while being around them can be fun and all, sometimes that's not what you need when you're trying to get out of debt and save for your future. So why are we saying this? It's because hanging out with friends who share your goals can help motivate you and keep you focused on what matters most, getting ahead financially. It's easy to get distracted or discouraged when things aren't going as planned, but if there's someone in your life who knows what it's like to be in the same boat and is also working hard to get out, then they're going to understand where you're coming from and support you through whatever comes next. Hey, if you enjoyed it so far, please like this video and leave a comment. What is your best way to save money? Number 1. Always think long-term. The reason why people get into debt and stay there is because they don't think long-term enough. When you're in the moment with your finances, it can be hard to see past what you want right now. If you want to be financially secure, though, it's important to develop the habit of thinking about how your actions today will affect your future self. For example, let's say you're looking at buying a new iPhone right now. You have enough money in the bank for it, but if you spend it all on the phone and nothing else this month, then you won't have any money left over for rent or food or anything else. When it comes down to it, this purchase would only be worth it if you had extra money left over after paying all of your other necessities and bills. But if not, then no matter how much fun Instagramming from an Insta-worthy phone might be, it just isn't worth it.